What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Next Level Teaching. I'm your host, Jeremy Anderson, here with my super dope co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Tori Rodriguez, a.k.a. T-Rod. What's up?
Hey, Jay. How are you?
Virtual high five. Psh, how you feeling?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm doing really good. I am enjoying life these days. And I'm excited to hear about our unicorn that we have sitting next to us.
We're going to talk about that. Can I give her new nickname?
Yeah.
I gave you a new nickname. This is Miss Tosha Croom, right? She got that Colgate smile.
It's
beautiful.
What I'm saying?
Yes. So thanks for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So before we get to the unicorn thing, I want to know, how did you get into education?
Yeah.
Okay. Was supposed to be a lawyer. In high school, went to law clubs once a week, went to college, degree in English. This is what I'm going to do. Played volleyball in college, went on scholarships. But if you want to go to summer school to lighten your course load, you have to pay. So I worked with NYSP, National Youth Sports Program, with a group of 12-year-olds.
Okay.
And not the most well-behaved, not the most groomed, just a challenge, but forged relationships, had influence, changed my major. Family had a heart attack. I never looked back.
Family had a heart attack, and then you never looked back.
Right. So,
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah. And how many years have you been serving?
Since I was 21. So 24 years.
24 years in the game.
Right.
Wow.
I love it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And when you first started, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, when you first started, was it elementary, middle, high school? What did you teach? What was that like?
High school. So I had,
wow, okay.
During my student teaching, I had a student who was a year older than me because he had an IEP.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. And he ended up graduating, after asking me out on numerous dates and me explaining that we were not on the same level.
Right.
Yeah. And went to the military.
Did you use that as, now maybe we can get some coffee depending on how you do with this next test?
I used it as inspiration. We're the same age, but on different levels. You need to do something about that. Yeah. So he went to the military, came across each other later, hugged, it's cool. I think it's life. The school's a reflection of the world. So we're going to see all kinds of things. Yeah. You have to be ready for those things.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it keeps you on your toes.
That
I like it.
It's a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
I like
so
it.
So right off high school.
High school,
so 21, you in there with 17, 18, 19
22.
year olds.
He was 22. I know his first and last name because I was like, oh, my goodness. Because that was different for me.
Yeah.
Knowing that under certain circumstances, people of a certain age could still be in a high school classroom.
Yeah.
I've worked with this school in Kentucky. It was one of the roughest, most poor performing schools in the whole state, and they had a few students that were in their 20s and 21s. And I'm just glad that y'all are still showing up.
You're still trying.
I've done lots of professional development, spoken several times for their staff. They have our curriculum there, but you do have those schools where it's just like, as long as you were continuing to show up and you're willing to try, we're gonna keep you here and help you get across the finish line.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you started off teaching, and then 9th grade, you said?
9th grade, and then 12th. I did my student teaching 12th, 9th grade, and mostly always 11th and 12th until I moved to Georgia. Then maybe my first 9 years, 9th, back to 11th grade.
So you've been in high school all along?
No, 3 years in middle school.
Oh,
8th
okay.
grade, yeah.
Okay. How was
That's
that?
as far as you would go, 8th grade.
It was a favor.
Okay.
To come to this school was a favor to the new principal who was going.
Okay.
A 3-year favor.
It was, yeah. And I will not go lower than 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right. You made it known.
yeah. So
I'll come, but don't you give me them 6th graders.
They require a lot of energy.
Yes.
And I have a lot of energy, but
It's
high
just
school
different.
is my thing. Middle school.
It's just different.
If they see me, I love you still. Okay. But I prefer high school instead of middle school. Yeah.
We talked about that
a
few episodes, maybe a few months ago. We had, we realized that there are some teachers that's like, you know what, they just love elementary school kids. And some is like,
Yeah.
But there's some that's like, man, I
yeah.
just love high schoolers. When you got some teachers that are like, I couldn't take them kids, they think they grown. Then you have some that's like, I love middle schoolers, but you have others kind of cringe from that.
They're like, okay, let's not say others, we say most.
Okay.
Let's be honest, I hate middle school.
Right. It wasn't the kids. It was the structure of middle school. I actually took on another teacher's class with my class. So it's 45 in the room, 50 in the room.
No.
Wow.
Because we had a teacher who was never in. Subs wouldn't come because it wasn't,
Yeah.
and they need to be taught. They still have a test at the end of the year.
Yep.
They need to be cared for. I need all those desks over here.
Yep.
Yeah, so it wasn't that I couldn't deal with them. It's just the structure of it is not for my style of teaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, two
That
structure
sounds-
order. Walk down the right side. Don't talk in the cafeteria. Be quiet. What are you preparing them for? Yeah. So I didn't like that. Yeah.
Prison.
And I did not like that.
That's
so,
deep.
Yeah, so I had to go.
No,
It
let's
is.
talk. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't always see that, like some of the systems and protocols and things that's in places. Like, okay, what are we really preparing them for? Because when you walk down the mall or if you're in a grocery store, you're not walking
In a line.
certain ways
Quiet,
like that,
no
right?
words.
Yeah, like what is that? That's not real life.
Yeah.
No.
And I understand them. Okay, let's show respect. Let's make sure things are orderly. But when you get out here in the real world, when you walk into a mall, like it ain't nothing orderly about that.
Yeah.
Folks is going all these different ways. They're just shopping. They're just doing what they got to do.
Yeah.
And so I found I knew exactly what you were saying when you said like, what are we preparing them for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it. And so every educator, I feel like what makes them on that next level is they realize, okay, this is a sweet spot. It's just like somebody playing basketball. It's like you got some guys that's like, no, let me be the center. I thrive in the paint.
Right.
And then someone's like, no, let me show on the outside perimeter.
Right.
Some guys are like, I'm really not a good shooter, but I know how to set up the pick and roll, or I know how to dash the pass. Like everybody has their own space in which they can really thrive in, and you've obviously found your sweet spot.
Right.
But you didn't just stay there in the classroom. You excelled and went to that
Doing
next level.
everything. The next thing I'm doing ranges from 3 to 10. So yeah, I don't mind doing it all. But at least on this end, I am grooming teachers to tackle those issues that they feel are keeping them from being successful. So
So let's talk about that a little bit more.
right.
Yeah.
So it's literacy, but people think that literacy looks the same in each class, whether you teach math, science, social studies. That isn't true. So
Facts.
to empower the teacher so that they don't feel like they have to be the English teacher,
Right.
and just to help them build. So stepping into a situation with a leader with vision who doesn't have all the red tape that a traditional school has. So I'm excited to work.
Yeah.
So we start in a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Amazing. So you left, you started off high school, did a favor for 3 years, 3-year bid. And then you went back to high school and then you, okay.
I went to a non-traditional high school where my students could be my age. So I had a lot of foreign students, Black and brown students, people who, whether they've dropped out, whether they had a kid, whether they're just moving to the country, but they want a traditional high school diploma. So no sports, no activities, just academics full through.
Wow.
Right. So, I mean, I love it there too, but I was recruited to go elsewhere. So, hey, I'll go there too.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. So you say you're like, but I love that too.
Right.
Okay.
I love people.
Okay, and that's something that you said earlier before we started the podcast. I heard you say, I'm a bit of a unicorn when it comes to
Yeah.
education. What do you mean by that?
The job can be done. The system is, I wouldn't even say, it is rigged, it is flawed, but with the right group of people, you can make that change. I think it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
Maybe 35% of the people I've worked with shouldn't even be in the field. Yeah, I mean
Again
this.
for the people in the back.
So that makes it harder for those. The student comes to your class, you're doing what you're supposed to do. They come to my class, it's good time,
Yeah.
So, and then it's some days he's on it, some days he isn't. So how do we win the child over when you're the only consistent person?
Yeah.
And I don't mean lecture, no moving, no talking, but caring, delivering instruction, grooming you for a future, helping equip you where you have deficits and helping to empower you. You have too many people in education, they either want health care, weekends off, holidays, or they want to be in control of something because they're not in control of something at the house. And it's
Okay.
just, it's you need the right type
Okay.
of person to, these are our children, like they're valuable. They are no throwaway kids. I don't
Right.
care if they're 20 or 12 or
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I remember being in school and I remember having some teachers where I'm thinking like, you really hate your job and you're not good at it. And I'm not making your job any easier. But then there were some that I was just like, man, you're really, like I could sense that even as a student. And I find it interesting that you would say that, hey, some, probably 35% shouldn't even be, in the profession.
Yeah.
And I did the convocation, the kick beginning of the year kickoff for the school district, and I said something. And I know the superintendent was like, "Yeah," but I was like, "Look, you've had all this probably 3 years ago." I said, "Look, you got all summer off. If you are ready, if you're stepping into this new school year and you feeling stressed, you feeling irritable, you dreading it, you feel like, oh, school is starting. This is not the occupation for you."
Yep.
That principal, the superintendent about melted, and I'm like, "Sorry, Dr. Spears, but I'm going to just say it.
But
Like, you need to check
true.
something inside your heart.
Yes.
If it's the beginning, you didn't have all these months off, and you dreading coming back, that's a problem."
Well, and we've had some conversations about that as well. If you really are not feeling it, then you need to take a step back, and it's okay to take a step back.
We've had a
Right.
guest
Yes.
that took a year or two off just to get her heart right, get her family back in alignment.
Right.
Yep. And then sometimes it's not even the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes the teachers are like, "Oh, no. I love the babies.
It's my
I'm just
coworkers."
not."
It's my
And it's
administration.
the system.
It's
the
the system.
administration.
Yeah. And I think that that needs to be normalized, because we have been in this world, especially like my parents' generation, the generation before that. You have a job, you stick with that job forever, no matter
Yes.
how much you hate it.
Yes.
You are like you are tied to it for forever. And I feel like education, we feel like we have to do that, especially because of the way that the retirement system is set up.
Right.
And getting vested.
Right.
Right.
You don't have to tell me.
I am shy of getting vested, and yet that can't matter.
Right.
The kids have to matter more than that. And so if you're not in a space to be teaching, that's okay. That it's okay to take a
Right.
step back. It's okay to take a leave of an extended leave of absence for a year.
Right. That's better than being there and compounding what's already wrong with the kid.
Exactly. And
or
potentially,
whatever.
especially as a math teacher, making them hate math even more than they already do. Why would I want to do that to them? I would be doing a disservice by
Right.
staying in something. Other jobs, you could kind of get away with it a little bit more. I feel like this is not a job where you can
is
get
not that
away with it
place.
if you are not 100% all in for these kids.
Yeah.
But they know.
Yes.
The children know.
That's the thing.
That's why they act up. Like some people, they could be the most militant, the most intelligent, but if you don't have that certain
Love.
the relationship, that je ne sais quoi, whatever it is, the kids know when you're faking. So you probably gave some of them a hard time because you knew they didn't care. So I really don't want to be here. You're not helping me. So hey, I'll cut up. So yes.
Yeah. And you want to go tick for tat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, we can do that. If that's
We
what
can
you
play
wanna
that
do.
game.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do. I mean, I was young, disrespectful,
kid.
immature. Yeah.
And that's the difference, is they are kids, we are adults. We have to be the one that's in charge in the correct way,
Right.
not in the militant way,
Right.
but in the right way of being in charge. And that also means being responsible enough to know if you are in this for the right reason still.
Right.
Because you're right, there are plenty of teachers. I had one when I was in high school. I almost failed math in high school. A math
Right,
teacher.
a math teacher.
A math
Maybe they
teacher.
inspired you.
Really, he did. I remember his name. I remember what his classroom, we were in a trailer. I remember what that classroom felt like. I remember that he would go up to the board. I was not first period. I was probably like third period. And he would have the notes already written on the board from first period. He took questions from first period on what questions they had over the homework and would write it out on the board and leave it up there. And when we walked in, not being first period, he said,
Right.
"Here it is." And then he would go sleep.
Oh, wow.
I remember he would.
In his defense, maybe he was working a night job because he didn't get paid too much. I don't know.
Maybe.
He should have walked around on third block. You can't sit then,
Yeah.
so you won't
Right.
sleep.
But I mean, I just remember, and I remember our class being a hot mess. People were on their cell phones. They were playing cards. And this was before we had smartphones. We were on cell phones. We were playing cards. I would try and sit there and do my work. And so even your best kids
Right.
can't be successful
all-
in an environment like that. So if you
Right.
can't give them what they need,
Like, find a school that's more conducive to you, maybe, or change professions.
and that's when I think tenure gets in the way.
Right. Right.
I don't think it's always a good thing.
I think with anything, comfort can be a little dangerous. It could be your weight. If you
Yeah.
become comfortable with something, you don't necessarily do what's in your best interest. So tenure is, even a thing anymore like it used to be.
Yeah.
Now it's like retirement. Like even if I put in 25 years because I'm not a certain age, I can't get a certain amount. So I'm sticking around.
Yeah. And that's the wrong reason to stick around.
Right.
So so tell me about all the different roles that middle school teacher, high school teacher, then a special like alternative
coach.
school or literacy coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the other.
I think it's all the same. I think as far as being in a leadership role, you just have to be ready for conflict. And conflict doesn't mean arguing, but if something is wrong, somebody has to resolve it.
Right.
You can't just listen to complaints.
Right.
You can get caught up into hearing everything that's wrong with the students, everything that's wrong with the system, everything that's wrong with the parents. But what are you doing? So I've taken that perspective, even with my students. Okay, it doesn't matter what you don't like or what you can't do. This is what we need to do, and this is where we're headed. So I try to be solution oriented, whether it's in a leadership role or whether it's me directly working with a student or a parent, even because a lot of times they'll say, "I don't know how you do this." And I think that's a crazy statement because I'm dealing with your child. You're bringing this plant, this being to me to mold, and you're saying, "Hey, do something," because I don't know how you're going to do it. So I just think we have to be more solution-oriented, have the difficult conversations. Everything can't be polite. Sometimes it just has to be real. Right.
Heavy.
Can you speak more into how you do that well? Because I think that is something that I personally struggle with. I am a non-confrontational kind of gal.
Give me a situation.
So I know that I can be the kind that I like to stick to like ethically what we're supposed to be doing type thing. And that doesn't always align with either administration or sometimes what parents believe I should be doing. So sometimes I have parents that get frustrated because I don't bend and fold to what I think is best for the kid.
Well, first of all, you tell him the expectation. I'm here because I care about you and Johnny. He's an awesome kid, but Johnny's not doing 1, 2, 3. And in order for him to be successful in this course, this is what I need him to do. Whatever you need or he needs, I'm here for you. But this is the expectation. Like the discipline, the criticism, it isn't personal. I think when you're dealing with an uncomfortable situation, you have to make certain that they are aware that this is not a personal attack. This is a behavior or this is a goal, the behavior that we want to change or a goal that we want to reach, and this is what we must do. So I haven't asked my students, how many of you have a job? If you don't show up to work, do you get paid? So if you don't work in this classroom, how do you expect to get a passing grade? Or even during the pandemic? You have to show up. Bills still have to be paid.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal, but it's doable. So you have to do what you can, and things kind of work out.
I think that we've got some good stuff.
Yeah. Can you stay around for a part 2?
Sure.
We're going to go even deeper.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
No filter.
No filter.
But don't
No.
say something that would get you
No problem.
But I do appreciate how tangible you are, because I think sometimes our listeners need something like that. I feel like even I need things like that are things we hear about these teachers that
I've been ridiculed for being very tangible. Like in my classroom, my cell phone number is on the board. My cell phone number, not my Google number. Right, first day.
No,
Right
you
there.
bold.
But because they don't call you unless they need you. They don't want to be bothered with you either.
See, middle
Unless
school's
it's
the other way
important.
around. I'll tell you
Even
that.
middle school
Oh no.
on the board.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they hit you if they really
If
need
they
to.
need you, yeah, they do. And when they graduate, when something good happens, it's delayed gratification for the appreciation.
Facts. I've
Yep.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They remember you.
Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And y'all remember to catch your part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catch part 2 of this interview.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all
See
next
you.
week.
Okay.
Yeah.